John again here in the JMC Garage for this week's Under the Hood JMC Garage review. And this week we're actually going to be doing headlights. And what do you mean by that? Well, I have my son's 2010 Mercury Milan, aka Ford Fusion and Mercury Flows, in the garage today. And actually we're going to be changing out headlights. We're going to be upgrading to LEDs. Not only the LED headlights, but we're going to be upgrading to LED fog lights. So we're going to show you to do that today, but let's first take a walk around this car. My son just has had this car for about a couple weeks now. Got rid of the Buick for this car. As you can see, I have it jacked up, and the reason why is we got to go underneath the car, underneath the front bumper, in order to do the fog lights. But let's take a walk around. This was a kind of a base Fusion with as many options as you could get with the base Fusion back in 2010. Sorry, Milan. So sorry for the noise in the background. It's a Power Wheels that a young toddler is driving. It sounds horrible, but if you can bear with me, it's 90 degrees outside, so I'm not going to close the garage door because I don't have air conditioning in this garage. So just going to have to bear with the noise. Anyway, one of the packages that his car came with in 2010 was what they call the the sun and sink package. So that means you got the sunroof, and you also got the sink inside. This one, the first renditions or early renditions of sink. Have you come around? And in fact, stay right there. I'll come around inside there. So this car here came with the first rendition of Sync by Microsoft, where you could actually sync your phone up via Bluetooth, and you could do Bluetooth audio streaming, and you can make phone calls, do several other things with your phone synced up to this system. It had a basic LCD screen, and you can do some basic functions. You can also get a touch screen in this car, but this car did not have that option since it's just the base Milan and not the Milan Premier. Again, 6-speed automatic. This car has about 122,000 miles on it. The seats, we tried to clean them up as best we could, but being this is the camel cloth interior, this light tan interior gets stained pretty easily, and some of these stains are kind of baked into the seat. But the seats are not ripped, and they still function just as good as they did when it was new in 2010. Awesome. So there you go. This is the back seat area. The back seats fared a lot better, as you can tell. It's very clean back here, a lot cleaner than the front seat area. And then one of the things that we're not going to be touching on this Milan today is the rear tail lights. Now, one of his reverse lights were out. The reverse and the turn signals are both incandescent, but the tail lights that were standard on all Milans, at least this portion here, not back here. This, I believe, was on the Premiers. We can get LEDs. But anyway, this portion here was an LED running light and LED stop light. That was actually standard on all Milans from 2010 and newer. In fact, 2006, they came standard with LEDs as well, even back then, but the taillight looked different. I believe on the Milan Premiers and on the hybrids, you can get LEDs over into the trunk lid, but on the base Milan, like what this one is, you only had LEDs right here. And then of course you get an LED daytime or third brake light right here on, and this one does have the built-in spoiler, which is pretty nice. It kind of dresses up the back end. I do like how they had the built-in spoiler on this, because the Milans without the spoiler kind of look plain. I'm glad this one has it. This one has the 4-cylinder. You get the faux twin exhaust tips out the single muffler, and then this kind of like the base back end here. So, capless fuel filler, pretty nice. The wheels. Now, if you look at these wheels are not the standard. The standards, I believe, were 16-inch aluminum wheels. These were a steel wheel that had almost like a hook cap on top of it. Now the Milan version was a little bit different from the Fusion. The Milan actually had this kind of like 5-spoke design hook cap. It could either be chrome clad or it was silver painted. This one, the person that had this car before us actually deleted that, so all you see is a steel wheel underneath. It's a 17-inch design, 50 series tires, 225 width. So there you go, 17-inch steel wheel. We still got the chrome lug nuts. Some of those have been replaced because back then lug nuts were known to swell by Ford. So some of the lug nuts on here have been replaced. I don't even know if all the lug nuts are original. Does not matter. We're not focusing on lug nuts today. We're focusing on headlights. All right, so on the Milan, let's go ahead and turn on the stock halogen headlights and let's see what they look like. Now, my garage is not totally dark, but you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and close the garage, and we'll turn on the stock headlights.
Don't forget to turn off the garage light.
That's all right. We'll do that.
Okay.
We'll turn on the stock headlights and the fog lights. Are the fog lights on?
No.
I need to have the car on.
No, you don't. Do you?
You do.
Huh. Okay.
Unfortunately. Now the fog lights are on. Stock headlights with the fog lights on, that's what they look like. You can see what it looks like against the wall. Now I'm not going to start it up because we're in a closed garage, so let me go ahead and turn that off. And then we'll do a comparison when we get the new LED headlights in. Now one of the things I want to make mention about this Fusion, or sorry, about this Milan, it is a Fusion, but Milan, that was different from the Fusion, is that in fact, let me turn this light on here, get a little bit more light. One of the things is that this takes a single bulb for the high and low beam. Now you may be like, you know, on the Fusion it took two different bulbs. That is true. On the Milan, what Ford did is they use a single bulb for the high and low, and then there's a mechanical, a diverter, a light diverter inside this sealed beam halogen. It's not a sealed beam, it's actually a projector beam. On this projector beam halogen, it actually moves, it's mechanical. So when you turn the high beams on, it'll click the lights up, or click the beam up, and then click it down when the high beams are off. In fact, you can hear it. Let me show you what that sounds like. That's the diverter making that noise. And what that diverter does is, all it does is quickly click the beam up and just facing up just a little bit higher. Instead of using a different bulb, that's what they use. So let's go ahead and do this. How much time do we use so far?
7 minutes.
Okay, all right. I don't want to make this video too long. So in the effort of saving some time, we're going to kind of break it up into sections. Number one, we're going to go ahead and take out the stock halogen headlights. This side is pretty easy. Let me show you what I've done to get to this side. This is what they call an air horn. Now this air horn grabs air from the inner fender. It goes past a silencer and then goes into the air box. I've already removed the air horn. You can toss it aside. Don't really need it. If you want, you can put it back on. I think it sounds pretty cool without the air horn myself, and it gets plenty of fresh, cool air from behind the headlight and the side of the fender. Anyway, if you take the air horn out, you can easily get to your headlights. In fact, look at that. Bam, there we go. That's one. The passenger side's a little bit different story. We have the overflow tank here. Now, some people have taken the inner fender out. They're going through the inner fender and they're trying to reach up in there. I'm not going to do that. Let me show you what I'm going to do. All right. We're going to take the overflow bottle and push it aside. First, what you want to do is you want to loosen that hose clamp. Stay. There, now we're going to want to put it right there. Doesn't that look great? Now we take a 10 millimeter and then these is all that's left holding in the overflow tank. There, look at that. Now it's loose. You got to be careful. You don't want to lift it up too much because it will start to come out at the top there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie and kind of wrap this around so it's out of my way, so I can easily now get inside here and get to the headlight bulb, which I have it out already. Now, a couple things we're going to address. First off, I'm going to grab a zip tie, zip that up. The headlights I'm using are by AUXITO. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. AUXITO. They sent me this headlights for a review. These are 9005 equivalents. Come with some white gloves, an owner's manual, and these are the headlights themselves. Again, LED. These do come with a built-in fan, and the reason why I say that is on the back side of these headlights, you have this cover. Now, traditionally, you would put this cover back on once you put a new headlight in, but because these have a built-in fan, they need ventilation, so the cover is not going back on after installation. All right, just a key note there. If you get LED headlights that don't have a built-in fan, then sure, put the cover back on if it'll fit. But for me, I want to make sure these have plenty of ventilation. I'm not putting that cover back on because it'll cut off the ventilation. And being that they have a built-in fan, we're going to make sure that they have plenty of ventilation and they don't burn out anytime soon. So I'll be right back and we'll show you what the headlights look once they're installed. Hey, we're back. So we just did the headlights. I'm about ready to reveal what those look like here in a minute. Just had a successful run. They are both installed. I've got the overflow tank back in the same location. Again, this is the easiest way to do headlights on a Ford Fusion or a Mercury Milan. Again, the Ford Fusion headlights of the same vintage are around the same area and spot. Again, you don't have to go through the fender well, take the wheel off and everything else. Now, the only difference is the fog lights are a lot harder. Let me show you. So we're going to be replacing the stock halogen fog lights with, again, AUXITO, whatever you want to call it. I may be mispronouncing it, I'm so sorry. But they sent us these beautiful fog lights, and these fog lights are the H11 fog lights. What's nice about these fog lights, and I love LED lights that don't have a fan. Look at this. The design is in such a way where it's actually able to self-cool without using a fan. I love it. I love LED lights that don't have a fan. So this are the fog lights we're going to be putting in. Same company that sent us the headlights. Now, unfortunately, on some Fusion models of this year, you can actually pull the housing out from the bumper. You can get to the fog light that way and replace them that way. On the Mercury Milan, the fog lights are right down here, and they're actually built into the lower part of the bumper. I'm sure there's a way to take this cover and thing off. I didn't have time to figure it out. I don't really want to go through the whole stress of pulling that whole lower valance off in order to get to those fog lights. So the other way to do that is to get up from underneath of it. So let me show you. I'm going to try and do one side and then we can tackle the other, or I may just demonstrate one side and then I'll do it and then I'll show you the end result. So got my nifty little flashlight here. In fact, let me put it on here as I get underneath here. Now this and this is going to be the same whether it be on the Fusion or the Milan. You have this plastic cover right here. There used to be a bolt here and a bolt here that held this on. Well, I've taken those two bolts, I've removed them, so now I can actually look at that. You see right there? That's the fog light. And we're going to go ahead and remove that. So let me go ahead and I love this flashlight, by the way. So now I can get my hand up in there. Maybe if I turned it the right way. Okay. Come on, you little monkey. Let's go ahead and disconnect the wiring first. And then we can mess with the fog light after. Praise the Lord. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Let me figure this thing out and we'll get right back with you. All right, we got the headlights installed. We got the fog lights installed. The fog lights are probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. I go up from underneath into the back side. And this headlight, or this fog light here, was probably the worst because the housing is kind of broken. If you can't see, let me turn on some light here. And can't see this. As you can tell, this car, it looks like somebody did some patchwork fiberglass work, even though this is a plastic bumper. But did some patch fiberglass work and just painted it white, which is not even the same color as the car. But anyway, whatever happened here messed up the housing here, so that fog light was extremely difficult to get out. This side wasn't too bad. I just had to get a certain angle to get it up out. This one on the other hand, I was fighting for at least 20 minutes just to get the original one out. So, and then I tried to line it up as best I could. The housing itself is broken, but we're not going to put new housing in, so we're just going to run it like is. Anyway, let's go ahead and shut this light off and let's see what the new LED headlights and fog lights look like. Fog lights.
Turned on.
Headlights. Now let's do the high beams. All right. Fog lights. Headlights. There we go. Hope you're able to capture that on camera. I'm going to turn this back on. And that's pretty much it for this video here in the JMC garage. Appreciate all those that tuned in. Thank you. And I want to give a big shout out to AUXITO. AUXITO, thank you for the fog lights. Thank you for the headlights. The headlights again are 9005. And the fog lights were an H11 if I'm not mistaken. And we'll let you know the performance of these and how they work and all that. But as of right now, pretty impressive. You just saw the light output. Definitely a dramatic difference from the original halogens. I love fog lights and projector housings. And if you're going to do an LED upgrade, please do not do an LED upgrade if you have reflector housings. Please do them if you have projector housings. They actually look a lot better in the projector housings than they do in the reflector housings, especially in the fog light form. Anyway, so we did the upgrade. Looks great. And we can worry about aiming them later. I really don't have time right now in this video to do that, but I just wanted to get these headlights installed, get the fog lights installed, as my son is now got to be on his way to work with this thing. But he's going to let me know how they perform tonight when he drives home and he has his headlights on. I'm sure it's going to be a dramatic difference even with the fog lights on. So you guys be blessed. Thank you for joining me in this JMC garage under the hood review, doing headlights and fog lights on this 2010 Mercury Milan. We will catch you on the next one.